Hi, I'm Rusudan.
Hi there, I'm Javier, and today we're in Istanbul.
Yes. So recently we had a citizen summit in Istanbul. We had the whole Nomad Capitalist team arrive here to spend some time together and build teams. And we wanted to use this opportunity to give you a small tour of Istanbul and just share our opinions and take you on a tour with us through Istanbul.
Yeah, we're going to show you how great it is. We had people fly in from all over the world. This is a great travel hub. We're going to show you what it's like to walk around Istanbul, to enjoy Istanbul as a Western expat or digital nomad, how affordable the food is, how great the shopping can be, and just the rich life and culture of this wonderful and vibrant city that we have come to love so much here at Nomad Capitalist. So, one of the things that is very interesting, and actually Rusudan, because she's a part of our management team, she knows this very well, is that Istanbul is one of the major travel hubs of the world, as I was mentioning earlier. So, Rusudan, how many countries did we have people flying in from?
I would say 20 plus right now. I think even 25 plus.
Wow.
So I think that it was a very easy decision for us to think about, okay, where do we want to gather all the teams from around the world. In most cases, you have a direct flight to Istanbul, like even from Venezuela, you have a direct flight. Georgia, we don't have a lot of direct flights, but Istanbul is definitely one of those. And it was a really easy decision for us to think about one place where we would gather people, where there was like more than enough culture to kind of enjoy some of the sightseeing opportunities that we did the day before.
And
also, and also kind of show people some new things and have enough like space and culture and like good food to be able to enjoy some good evening with the team.
Yeah, and something that I would add, not only do you have the direct flights, but also like Turkish Airlines in particular is very efficient. Like, sure, there are some delays here and there, like everything, but out of all the airlines we've used, like we really use Turkish Airlines. Number one, because as you said, it flies everywhere. Number two, the planes are very comfortable. The internet is decent compared to other airlines, decent enough. And what's interesting is even for our clients, so many of our clients will have Turkey as part of their plan, as part of their strategic like multinational plan, because maybe they don't want to live here, but they use Istanbul as their main stopover. So what they'll do is they'll buy a property here. Some will get residence, others will get citizenship, it depends, but they love traveling through Istanbul, and it makes it comfortable, because if you're doing business like in the US or Latin America and you're going to Asia, you stop in Istanbul 3 days, you stretch your legs, you visit your property, you use your passport or your residence permit, and then you go on, and it makes it very comfortable, right?
Like this is a connection of like you see Asia
and
two
Europe.
Continents, Asia, and we're on the European side. So
in fact, I think this is the bridge, right? This is the bridge that connects Asia and Europe. So we're literally standing in the crossroads of two continents.
Exactly. So like literally the connection of like two worlds, and in like immigration and nomad capitalist lifestyle, people travel a lot, and like you get used to it, but at the same time, like not many people maybe like hotels. So that's why we have a lot of people buying properties here, just even for a couple of nights to stay while they are like having a bit of a longer layover, or maybe even like to stay for other purposes. There's lots of good residency and citizenship options. So that is definitely a plus for Istanbul and Turkey in general.
And it's very nice that you can get like different kinds of properties, because we've had clients do like the bare minimum just because they want to have maybe that little flag and maybe the citizenship. So they'll go and they'll invest this $400,000. It might go up, so keep in mind if you're watching at home, this might go up to $600,000. But as
They're
of now,
always saying that.
They're always saying that, so we're paying attention to it. But as of now, it's still $400,000, and you can get citizenship. So you can buy anything from an apartment in a nice area of Istanbul, like a nice studio apartment, like New York style. But you can also buy a beautiful mansion here on the water. Like I think if my geography serves, it's somewhere in that direction. You can have beautiful mansions, manors even, right, that we've seen with our real estate team that are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, like something you would see in Italy or Greece. It's like amazing. You really have a lot of options.
I think that Istanbul is like, it's a big city, and it does offer like a lot. If you're like a single person and you just want to kind of have a small studio apartment, you will find it here.
And the other thing that I really find very enjoyable here, even as a man, and this is like, it's not the first thing I pay attention to, but something that I really like is there's great shopping. Like I was looking to buy some suits the other day, great tailors, everything very well
Amazing.
made, nice Western brands, and some of our female colleagues, well, including yourself,
God,
you know,
yes.
all of the brands are here, Hermes, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like all of that.
Yes. I think that's one of the things about Citizen Summit was that the day before, I think half of our team went shopping.
Yeah.
Because Istanbul is a really good, amazing like shopping hub. We are right now at Galata Port. This is a big shopping mall that was opened, I feel like a few years back.
Yeah.
And then you have like different streets and neighborhoods like with lots of big brand shopping malls and like shops, and it's really accessible, I would say, and compared to maybe like the prices in Paris or London or something, more affordable.
And when you're in Nişantaşı, like we just came from Nişantaşı where we were having lunch and coffee,
Yeah.
and really if you just like for one moment you just forget you're in Istanbul, you can feel that you're really in another European city like Paris or London or Madrid that you just mentioned. We actually filmed one of our Live Like a King episodes here, so if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. That's wonderful. You follow our founder Andrew Henderson around Istanbul, and he shows you how to live like a king here in Istanbul. Now, this is a very interesting part because it's live like a king for families, live like a king for individuals, and it's really, really nice. And so in addition to the shopping, you know, the other thing that our clients have mentioned a lot, and this goes along with like the whole family thing, is international schools. Like I noticed that there are French schools, American schools, British schools. Like it's very interesting. You can really, if you wanted to relocate here or spend part of your year here potentially, like your kids could still have a Western education.
You do have to have a plan for that, and I think that you work with our clients, and I do have some communication with them too. And if you have a family, that is one of the like biggest and first questions that we get asked. Like, how do we make sure that we give our children the consistent education that they need? And we have like questions about homeschooling, or like when you are not spending like the whole year in one place, what do you do? And I think that for that purposes, like Istanbul is very good because you do have lots of international schools, and you can make sure that your kids are educated like in English or in a language, in French or some like more international language.
Yeah, even German I was seeing they have also,
Yeah, so it is a very important, I think, benefit. And I think that if you are like looking for a way to like have one of the three flags, not like to spend the whole year here, Istanbul could definitely be on your radar, like because of the connectivity, but plus also the education. But I do think that if you expect to be in a place where like English is widely spoken, Istanbul may not be that place.
Yeah.
But it's still
pretty good.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing that I find extremely interesting is Istanbul as a business hub. Because of course there are certain clients who will just use it as a travel hub, and like we said, they'll buy the property and that's it. But we have had some clients that are, for example, in manufacturing, and they say, you know, I want to have another like warehouse or something in another area of the world, not just the US or the UK or one of these legacy brand countries. And then Istanbul becomes interesting because labor is more affordable, you get a lot of raw materials, you're in the crossroads of East and West, and so it's very easy if you want to have an underground business, maybe not necessarily tax efficient, although it can work in a global structure, but still interesting, like a good place to do business.
It is a good place to do business. I think that, like, firstly, it's historically very good because there's a port, it's a connection for like any kind of trade. It has always been one of the biggest like advantages of the city.
Even back in like the Ottoman Empire.
Exactly, and that's why it was historically, and I'm not like an expert in Turkish history, but it was historically always like the all the powerful empires tried to kind of base here because it was such a good place to control the trade and like power and
you had
everything.
Rome, then you had the Byzantine Empire because it's the Eastern, and then you had the Ottoman Empire, and so Constantinople, Byzantius, and then obviously now Istanbul.
Correct. So in that regard, definitely, like for a business perspective, it can be considered. Like tax-wise, it's not like, it doesn't pop up as like, you know, we're gonna save tanks. But as we always say, it can be a part of the holistic plan where you, for your specific purposes, it can serve you. It can serve you depending on what kind of like a personal situation and business situation you have, and it can be a combination of two, where this is one of the pieces that kind of plays its part and
it's
makes it
puzzle.
work.
Yeah, a piece of the puzzle. I love it. And you know, one of the things that I find interesting about Istanbul is that unlike many European countries, well, I mean like continental European countries, you can establish ties here. Like you can have a home here, you can have club memberships, you can have even a car here, and that won't generate tax residence. Because one of the things we've seen is like, for example, in France or Spain, we've had clients who come to us and say, I only spend 30 days in Paris, but because I have a house and a car, and then I
Yeah,
can't really have a tax resident somewhere else, that because I'm a bit of a digital nomad, the French are going to want to say, hey, come here. I think you're a tax resident here.
Exactly.
And here in Istanbul, it's like, no, it's very simple. It's a day's test and it's very clear. So you can freely make investments, spend time, and know like, okay, if I go over this, then I assume the consequences. If I don't, then,
Yeah, it is always easier to do, like to be more straightforward in that regard, especially for tax purposes. There's always so much vagueness about that. And for like the more continental European countries, you're correct. They are always like, what is considered connection enough, like sufficient ties, and then
is
you
the
are
center
like,
of your vital interest here.
What do you mean? Like, do you think this is it or that's it? And with Turkey, you will not have that problem. You will know from the get-go what gets you.
And then the general culture here is like, of course they have their laws, and you should always respect the laws of any place you go to. But like the culture here is not like we're gonna go after you. It's not like in the West where it's like, where do you have your, exactly. Here it's more chill. And like in Europe and the US, it's more like, where do you have your accounts? Disclaim this, sign this form, send us this, declare this. And like here it's more like, it's more relaxed. So definitely something I appreciate.
So we had to cut because of the rain.
But now we're back. So the video can go on, the show can go on. But speaking of the weather, Rusudan, what do we say about the weather in Istanbul?
Well, it is December now, and you see that we are wearing like kind of warmer clothes, but it's not very cold. It's like 17 degrees, I think. So a bit unexpected, to be honest. But I think that it is very good if you don't like very cold weather. Istanbul is definitely a place. I don't think that it's kind of gonna be freezing anytime soon. So weather-wise, it is also very advantages. If you don't want to go to lots of freezing places, that can definitely be one of the stops on your way.
I want to almost say, I don't know if I'm not a climatologist, obviously, but I want to say I would say describe it as Mediterranean weather, like cooler in the winter, but not freezing, and then very warm in the summer.
Yes.
So if you're used to that like Italian, maybe Spanish weather, then maybe it's a bit more similar. Obviously, Spain on the coast, maybe not so much central Spain, but yeah, that kind of weather I think is what you'll find here in Istanbul.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I think was really interesting, we were talking about this during our rain break, was the fact that, we both like history. We're not historians by any means, but we both like to indulge in history from time to time. And the cool thing is like everything that has happened in the city, everything that has happened, the fact that you have so many historical monuments. Like for example, what's that one over there you were telling me about?
So this is Hagia Sophia.
Okay.
And it is I think everybody knows it's one of the most prominent structures in the whole world. It's an amazing museum right now, and you can visit it anytime. And there are lots of different sightseeing opportunities there. I think that one of the tours that we had the day before, we kind of walked around those places, and we only saw I think half of what was there because there's so many not small, but so many stops to make. And also this is
was that the Sultan's Palace? The old one, I think.
The old one, yes.
Old Sultan's Palace. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Like the architecture is absolutely beautiful.
Amazing.
And the art and everything, and it's so wonderful. And it's like we went to the Galata Tower, which was very beautiful. The Blue Mosque, obviously,
amazing.
is
Blue
wonderful.
Mosque is really pretty, and also the Galata Sisters.
Yes.
That was really. It was I've been to Istanbul so many times. I really lost count, but that was one place I didn't have a chance to visit and enter, and it's so fascinating. It was really impressive.
It's like you're walking in history itself.
Exactly.
You're walking through history.
It's very impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely love it. I love all the historical references. I love having the feeling of everything that has ever happened in the city come to fruition. And you know what's also interesting is from a cultural perspective, all the mixtures of all the religions that were present here, because you do have all of the Christians that were here at one point. Obviously now Islam is very present. But something that we obviously like a lot from a cultural perspective, not that we're talking about anything religious specific, but the fact that sure, it's a Muslim majority population, but at the end of the day you can live a very Western lifestyle in Istanbul.
It is. And I do think that for people, especially from Western world, where you don't necessarily come here often and you just see it on the internet, there's a misconception that it's very Islamic and very difficult to integrate as a Western person, which I don't think is. Istanbul is very international. You can literally, we are walking around it doesn't feel like it feels like
Europe.
Yes. So I think that is a very good point to showcase that it's not like unsafe.
Correct.
Like I'm a woman, I have never felt unsafe in Istanbul. Yeah, of course, as in any country, you need to know where you're going, and maybe
Correct.
not every neighborhood is like
Yeah.
safe.
But just like in New York, no neighborhoods, or in
Exactly.
Paris, you're not going to go to
Exactly.
certain neighborhoods. It happens.
I think
And
we are gonna be having another rain break.
another rain break will potentially.
But
We'll see.
we'll see.
We'll see because the sky on this side is more blue, so we'll see. So we are back again for a
Yes.
second time after some weather difficulties, but we're about to finish up here this wonderful tour we've done for you of Istanbul. But before we go, we wanted to leave you with a couple of tips and a couple of, let's say, like general observations we have on the city. So Rusudan, you wanted to mention something because you've had some experience with this.
I love Istanbul personally, and I think that it's a very good city to visit. And it doesn't matter how many times you come here; it's always gonna be like there's always something new. But one drawback to being in Istanbul is traffic, which is, I mean, it is crazy. You any kind of Uber or taxi or anything you're getting, like the traffic is so bad in most cases. You can sit down in the car and be like, okay, I'm gonna be there in 20 minutes, and then you're going like moving forward, coming closer to your destination, but the time is growing
Yeah, it
longer. Like
increases,
it
yeah.
increases.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's 20
crazy.
minutes turns into 40 minutes. So if you like just account for that, it's not a reason not to come here, but definitely don't plan to be on time everywhere,
Yeah.
which is for some people kind of difficult,
Yeah.
but yes.
And I would add another tip on my side, and I think we've had experience with this as well, is that this is a very cash-driven economy. So it has happened to me that maybe in the fancier areas it's okay, but when you start like exploring the city, I've had difficulty paying with credit card, for example. They
Exactly.
want cash.
Cash,
And
yeah.
even if they have the machine, they'll say like, oh, but don't you have cash? You know, we prefer
Yeah.
cash. So I would definitely recommend don't plan to be on time necessarily unless you're planning to leave like 3 hours early.
Yeah,
and also bring like a good amount of cash
yeah.
just in case.
I mean, in some cases you can use card, but and in sometimes they also like if you pay cash, you pay less
Yeah.
because of like tax or something. So yeah, definitely cash. Like we are no longer using cash as much, so it's a
Correct.
kind of
For us,
like
it's a bit weird.
Weird,
Yeah,
yes.
but there are even some places will tell you like, listen, there's an ATM down the street. Go
Yeah.
and take the cash out and come back. So you know, I would say these are the things that you have to pay attention to. But I would say overall, if you like history, if you like having an excellent travel hub that really connects the East and the West, if you want a city and a country that offers you the opportunity to do business or to invest in nice real estate and get residence or citizenship, then what do they have to do, Rusudan? nomadcapitalist.com/apply.
Yes.
And,
Share, like, and subscribe.
Yes, and we'll see you in the next city. It was wonderful to be with you, Rusudan and I. Bid farewell. It was wonderful, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.